Do you ever get told to cool it down a little bit? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, we do. It's like, look, get back in lane, or like, what is that right decision? If I'd have focused on money from day one, I'd have given up in year 6.
yeah.
I'm like, I could earn more at Pizza Hut. I actually worked at Pizza Hut, quite liked it. Me and my younger brother used to do it, and that was sort of our job. And then until he came to pay us, and we get like £200 for a week's work, and we're like, nah, we've been working every day, 10 hours a day. I've got no fingernails left.
My name's Hart, and in today's video, I've got Ben from Heatable with me, and we're going to talk about going from zero to hero, if you like. So Ben started out, failed at school, and he's come to now, he's got a massive multi-million pound empire. So Ben,
Yeah.
do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and where that journey's been?
Yeah, so present day, I am co-owner of Heatable, which is this website here. So online boiler replacement business, solar renewable business, and that's predominantly where my bulk of my focus goes. But we do have, as a family, a number of other businesses that we all work in. And I think we were speaking earlier on about, some of the stuff we've been doing when I was younger, and where we are today is very different to where it started. Like, people only ever see the success, they don't see the struggle.
The hard work.
Yeah. So I think that's some of the misconceptions that happen in market for a lot of successful people, is that they only see the present day. But my journey's been a long one, even though I'm still quite young.
So how did you start? How did you start from school? What?
Yeah, so I went to regular high school, not academic at all. I was pretty good at maths naturally, but didn't get a grade in it. I didn't really get any GCSEs. I got a grade. I think I got an A in music.
Right.
And that was my only thing I left with. I managed to get into a college, doing a business studies course.
And you said you failed at that?
Failed that. So I lasted about 8 weeks. And yeah, it wasn't for me. Sort of really struggled to focus in a classroom, to be honest, and really struggled to maintain like that level of discipline at that age. When I grew up, I've got 2 brothers and a sister.
Just that does seem common, doesn't it? That when you speak to anybody that's done really well,
yeah,
they tend to have not done that well at school.
Yeah, I meet a lot of people that will tell you that they did poorly at school. Sometimes it can become like a bit of a cliche, but genuinely for me, I was really poor at it, and I've paid for it in later life as well. So my English, my spelling, I can't spell, I can barely write, and if someone asked me the other day, like, what would you change in school? And for me, I would have paid more attention on the basics, because it would have saved me a lot of time later on down the line. And my brother's got some funny stories about spellings.
So you're saying about your brother and your sister and...
Yeah, so we have a group of businesses, which will come on how we got there now, but I work with my 2 brothers. I work with my dad as well still. So my dad has been the inspiration for everyone in the family in terms of business and sort of setting up on our own and having the confidence to do that. Because my dad worked for himself from, I think he was about 17 or 18. Same sort of story, left school with a GCSE in art and a GCSE or an O-level, whatever they were back then, in design, and had to make it for himself. And so we've always looked at my dad as like inspiration, and he sort of guided us through the way. And we're still working with my dad today, which is great.
So you did your college, failed at college.
Yeah.
Next bit, where did you go from there? What did you do work-wise?
So at that point in my life, I'd always been doing little hustles. So I'm massively into my cars. I'm a massive petrol head. Yeah. And as soon as I could get a car, I had a car before I even passed my test, I was modifying, trading parts, and I had a few little jobs like in the service industry. When I fell out of college, my dad was sort of disappointed, because I think in a weird way, because he'd not been to college, he sort of really wanted us to succeed. And my older brother and my sister had both been to college, one of them been to university. I was the first one to sort of break the mold with that, and I think they sort of knew I wasn't academic and wasn't really going to make it. So my dad sort of took me under his wing. At that particular moment in my dad's life, he had a couple of businesses and he was also doing property development. He put us, me and my brother, he used to make us work ripping out houses and ripping out like floorboards, plaster off walls. And me and my younger brother used to do it, and that was sort of our job. And then until he came to pay us, and we get like £200 for a week's work, and we're like, nah, we've been working every day, 10 hours a day. I've got no fingernails left.
Yeah.
And my dad sort of said, well, look, that's reality. If you're not going to make something for yourself, your skill set and what you've got academically, that's where you are, unless you want to make a difference. So it sort of resonated with me big time. And I was like, look, I can't do this. So I started pestering my dad and saying, what can I do? Like, I love cars. I want to get involved in cars. And my dad was like, there's not real money in cars. You're going to end up as a car salesman, and that's great, but that's not going to, you can do better than that. When he was doing these properties, he said, look, I'm using estate agents. They're all earning good money. These estate agency businesses are all earning great money. You should do an estate agents. And I remember my dad had an ML Jeep. He used to take me in the back of it to go and rip out these houses. And we were driving, I think it was the Winsford place in Cheshire, and he was telling us, like, we were coming up with names and ideas. And then this was 2005. So in 2005 was the London bombings. And my older brother lived in London. And he was sort of coming to his end of time in London anyway, and that was sort of a catalyst for him coming back. My mum didn't want him there. I don't think he wanted to be there, but he was in a really good job. He was a graphic designer for a multinational company, did some of the most famous brands in the world, designed their logos and worked on their brands. Came home to Warrington, not a lot here, and we decided as a collective, as a family, we were going to launch an estate agency. My brother, there's a gap here of about 8 months when basically my brother spent all the money he'd saved. He was living the life in London. My dad had been through a bit of a tough time in one of his businesses, and we basically, in a nutshell, had no money. But we wanted to launch this estate agency.
So that's 2005-ish?
2005, yeah. So property market at this point is booming.
Yeah.
My dad's done a couple of deals on property. Some have gone great, some have gone bad.
Yeah.
He got us some keys for an office, basically, and said, right, we're estate agents. What my brother had done when he was in London, he was a graphic designer, and he designed a logo for a chain of estate agency. And he got on quite well with the main guy there. So we sort of had this arrangement that we were going to fake it before we made it, because there's no qualifications for estate agency. There is a little one now, but there wasn't back then. And we used to ring him for advice and for guidance on, like, how does this work? What do you do? So we set up, we get this office, we went to a computer fair, and I can remember vividly, like, my dad drawing out a couple of £100 out of his account, my brother drawing out a couple of £100 out of his account. I probably put about 20 quid in. And we bought these computers, like Frankenstein computers it was from Bolton Computer Fair it was. And we had secondhand furniture, we set up, we've got pictures of us as a family leaflet drop-in, and luckily my brother was a graphic designer, so we made it look great.
Yeah.
The market was on our side, it was a great time.
Yeah.
And we exploded, and we genuinely started with nothing, and it went from strength to strength, office to office to office to office. And then 2008...
So just before that then, how many offices did you get to?
So we got to about 5 offices in a really short space of time.
So that's really good.
Yeah, and going back to my point before about seeing the success and not the struggle, so we're all living at mum and dad's house. We were all earning 150 quid a week.
Yeah.
No money.
Yeah.
Cheap suits, the whole sort of shebang. And every penny we got, it wasn't like, I'm going to go and buy a car or we're going to go on holiday. We're opening another branch.
Yeah.
And we would paint them. We would fit them out. I'd fit the floor, and I've always been a bit handy, and it would be a slog. And the credit crunch hits in 2008, and it's like, it just stopped. Like the property, I mean, you probably remember it. The industry just died overnight. All the mortgages got pulled, and our pipeline, which is what estate agents live and breathe on, just went boom and got totally wiped out. And because we'd been reinvesting all the money, we hadn't banked any sort of buffer. We'd essentially ran out of money, and we got through it because remember egg money.
Yeah.
We had some egg credit cards that we withdrew the cash out on.
Yeah.
Going around different cash machines.
Wow.
And it was like, that was because you went to the bank, we were like, look, we're Ashton's estate agency, we've been doing really well, we've been banking with you, we've been growing, we need 20 grand. And the bank were like, no, not interested. We had no money, we were skinned.
Yeah.
So we get through and we have these credit cards, and we landed, thanks to my dad, it's a really long story, I won't go into it, but basically we met this guy who helped us out, and we were doing some property transactions with him. And then where we excelled is we got the repossessions. So we got the contract to manage the repossessions for this area. So we were able to start turning these properties. And what that did for us was, A, it got us through, but B, we met lots of people who came out of the woodwork who had cash. And they were all self-employed, they were all hustling, they were all businessmen. And we were like, okay, what do you do? Okay, how's that work? And then we learned lots, we made lots of great connections because we had all these houses and we were, doing it all above board. But the banks wanted rid of anything they could get rid of, and we had good contacts, and that's why we were so successful at it. So we trade through that period. The market starts to recover, and we then open more branches. So we get up to about 12 branches.
Wow.
We open up lettings, we have a mortgage function. We're dealing properties on the side privately as well.
You've still got that now, so you've got a mortgage company.
Yeah. So
Mortgageable.
Mortgageable, yeah. So we've got a mortgage company. There's another company called Loanable, which do secured charges. We've got Ashton's Financial Services. We've got a lettings business. We had a business called ATM, which was like a asset transfer management. So we did a lot of big transactions, buying land, converting properties, helping new builders out. Did really, really well with that. And then 2012, 2013, I think it was, we had a branch in Wigan. Actually closed it down after that. It wasn't successful, but I started the branch, and we hired this girl, and she came in and she was like, I work for my brother, but I've fallen out with him. Will you give me a job? And I was like, well, are you an estate agent? And she was like, no. She said, but are you? I said, well, yeah, good point. Yeah, all right, okay. So we gave her a job. I love her to death. She was mental. And we hire her, and her brother keeps coming in, trying to get her to come back. And he's got a Lambo, he's got a Range Rover. I was like, I love my cars. So I'm like, what does he do? Oh, he does this thing with insulation and boiler replacements. And I was like, I'm doing that. So the building we had in Wigan was like this massive 3-story building. And I took the middle floor and I set up a business I bought a business off eBay, which was a cavity wall insulation business. A guy broke his ankle.
Wow.
And it was at the end of a scheme called Certain Cesp. So I bought the business off eBay. I bought a cavity wall van. I bought drills, everything. Won it in an eBay auction. It was in Norwich. Went to my 2 brothers and my dad and said, look, I need 50 grand. And at the time, 50 grand was like probably everything that we had, because we just come out of this, we were growing the business, and they were like, God, well, what have you done? You've bought this business. It's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. So we buy it, we launch this business, and it just explodes. And through the estate agency, I met another guy, a guy called Mike Everson, who transformed that business for me. And it was through my wife, at the time was my girlfriend, worked with me at the estate agents. And this guy comes in and says, I want to insulate this property. And my wife was in the office and she was like, oh, that's one of Ben's houses. I'll take the details. Rings me up and she's like, hey, I've got a house for you. It's your first one. It's your cavity wall. I said, how do you know that? This guy's just come in. How's he know? I don't know. He's found it out. I was like, give me his number. So I met him at McDonald's on Winnitt Road, and I was like, listen, that's my house, that. I'm doing that one there. And he said, all right, yeah, that's okay. do you know what you're doing? I was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. I've got this van, I've borrowed 50 grand off the family, I'm skin, the pressure's on me here. And he said, look, I'll help you. He's like a father figure as well, he was brilliant, and he got me through it, and he grew it, and he went massive. It was a multi-million pound business. And then the scheme ended, so I moved the business on. And then I met someone on the army randomly through this random connection. So I bought an M&E business and started fitting boilers on the army for the MOD. But at this time, when I was doing the installation, I was buying loads of leads off the internet. And Sam, my brother who's working with me, is like watching me lose my mind with how stressed I am doing all these installation jobs. And he says, who are you buying them leads from? I said, I'll buy it off these websites, and it's like 10 grand a week, 20 grand a week. And, I was watching the stress. I'm always skint trying to pay these people. And he's smart, Sam, you know what I mean? He's like, he knows how to work smart, not hard.
Yeah.
And he just went, nah, you carry on doing that. I'm going to go and do this. And Sam set up a lead generation business based around boilers. That's where the connections start to come through. So he sets up that. I go on working on the army. I'm doing full heating upgrades for the army. Just don't know how I ended up doing that. I lived in Oxford for like 2 years pretty much. And then 2017 comes around and Sam's launched Heatable. And Heatable originally was an online comparison site, and it was designed for CCH would go on. You would set some prices in the back end. Customers could go on, they could read your reviews, but they get an instant price like you do on Heatable today.
Yeah.
But that lead would go to you. Great idea. Sam was losing his mind with it because he was like, look, I'm getting all this traffic, I rank really well, but every time I give it to these contractors, to these gas companies, they cock it up. So, and he's like, the customers are kicking off and it's horrible, I can't do it. And I'm like, well, hang on a minute. I can run gas engineers. I've run all these insulation businesses, gas businesses. I was like, I'll do it for you. We'll do it together. And as a family, while this is all going on, by the way, so my brother and my dad are still running the estate agency. They're still hustling, doing the other businesses. We're still doing properties, but we work as a pack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could never have done the stuff that you're only hearing my story here today.
Yeah.
My brother's got a story. My dad's got a story.
Yeah.
My dad's is way more interesting than mine. My older brother's got a story, but get quite emotional now. But we're quite like, we're a pack, you know what I mean? And we move and we grow as a pack. So, where was it? Okay, so Heatable, yeah. So Sam says, what can you come and do it with me? I said, yeah, I'll come and do it. So we start Heatable. No one takes us seriously. So I reach out to Worcester Bosch and I'm like, hey, can you come down and see us, please? We want to work with you. We want this, we want that, we want the other. And Worcester randomly sends someone really senior. And our Heatable starts in an office above an estate agency. We're still on the building actually, but it's a really small office. Like, we own this place now. This is
an amazing building.
Yeah, this is like 16,000 square foot. It's a 200-year-old building. This is like a corner shop with a flat above it, and we're in the flat. And so this Worcester senior rep turns up, and they're like, no, we'll help you, but we hear this every day. You're going to be the next best thing. You're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to be the other. I'm telling you, my brother knows everything about the tech. I know everything about the install. We've proven concept in many industries. We can do this. And they took us on. Viessmann took us on as well. Like Graham Russell at Viessmann. He gave us our break. He genuinely did. And that's why we've been loyal to that brand for so long, because Graham gave us the break and he backed us and he believed in us. And we launched it, and it went from... Because with Heatable, you buy online and you pay up front. So the first day it goes live, we had no expectation at all. To the point where I still had a couple of businesses on the side that I was working on. Sam had the businesses. I was still doing valuations for the estate agency. We put this site on, and it's like, bing, 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 and like we're like, no one's doing this, and it just went and it just took off. And you know, again at this point, so this is 2017. I'm probably doing okay for myself then, but I'm still nowhere near. You know, we could never have dreamed of where we are now.
Yeah.
And we put all of our money into that. All the money we'd made on the other businesses, the properties. Heatable was expensive to launch, you know, but we believed in it. So when it actually worked, it was like, oh, you know, this is everything we wanted it to be, and it's genuinely worked. And it goes from strength to strength. And I think we did something like, wasn't a lot. It was like 2,000 something boilers in the first year, and it was a team of 6 of us. To the point when it wasn't that busy really, that in the middle of winter we took all the staff to Prague, we took them to Amsterdam. You know, I could not come in; it wasn't an issue. I could go off and work in the estate agency for a week, and then we became passengers really in the business, and it's just gone from where it is now to £40 million a year. We do solar, we do boilers, we do, you know, battery storage. We've got lots of products coming down the road, and it's now a team of sort of 50 people. We buy this building, you know, bought it outright at the time. It was like, oh my God, like we'd never have dreamed we could have done that. This is a building that for Warrington is like it's a landmark.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a really special place. It's got a lot of history. And then what we were able to do when we bought the building is like, right, we've got 50 staff in the mortgages business, let's move them in here. You know, we've got the loans business, we've got the solar side of this business, we've got the property side of the business, we've got the land and new home. So we were able to, everyone can come back together in like that ethos and that core of us, like us as a family working together. Those companies now work together. So I've got a development team 20 seconds away from me. I've got a marketing team 20 seconds away
I'm
from
actually
me.
tearing up a bit here. It's like, wow, you know, going through struggles, and then as a family all working together,
Yeah.
building something together, still going through struggles again, but, you know,
Yeah, like
joining together and
so, yeah, I would never have done it on my own. I'd never have done it without my dad. Would never have done it without my brothers. I couldn't have done it because, you know, we had no money. Like for about 10 years, we used to laugh. I'm genuine. Like we used to get 200 quid a week, I think it was, or 150 quid a week. It was nothing. And, you know, we all lived together. And then it's only recently where it's like, boom, where you can go. In a weird way, I said this to Sam yesterday, actually, we were chatting about it, and I was like, I sort of enjoyed it when we were hustling more than I do now. What we've got to get back in Heatable is like a little bit of the magic and the safety net of having like a massive cash reserve from all the profits that have built up over the years. It's like we don't think how we used to think.
You do seem to be doing so. You from the outside.
Yeah.
I've watched your journey for a while. I used to, like I said earlier, I'm actually one of Ben's biggest fans. I used to watch his videos online, and he used to watch mine, but we didn't know each other. And I've seen a journey there. So I've seen a journey with how you do videos. I've seen a journey where you just did boilers. Then you came to mine, Sync Solar. Now you do solar.
Yeah.
You grasp on them opportunities to move forward. But what's next then now? Because you've just started doing, I've seen you started to sponsor different football clubs.
Yeah.
So you've obviously, you've got plans to...
Yeah, I feel like sort of what's next really now is, going back to that analogy a minute ago about getting some of the magic back in, you know, this started with me and my brother playing around. We've got a great guy called Sam Rigby that joined us early doors, and he's been with us since the start. It's been a journey for him as well. Like, I consider him like a brother, you know what I mean? It's like he's always been there with us. But now Heatable's like got a CMO, it's got a CFO, you know, we've got targets, KPIs, you know, HR, and it's like, oh God, you know, it's not really us, but the business has had to smarten up and it's got to get to the next level. So the next level for us now is growing out the heating side of the business, whether that's renewables, whether that's gas boilers. It's a whole different rabbit hole. I'm really passionate about the solar renewable stuff, and that's thanks to you. You know, we were talking about it earlier. I used to laugh at people that had solar, and then I went to your house, and I can remember going home. I think I was with Jack and Sofas, and I rang our Sam and I said, Alan's got this app on his phone, and he can see what his bloody roof's doing in his house. And I was like, you need to come and see it. It's amazing. And then I just dived down this rabbit hole.
I always remember the first time you spoke about solar, because you sort of laughed at me. You were just you totally dismissed me. And I was so excited and buzzing about it. And then over you coming a few times, it sort of really changed. And then obviously you are where you are now.
I mean, I love it. You know, the renewable journey for me is massive. I like working with. I like what we've done for engineers. I know there's mixed opinions out there in the market, but look, I see the success of guys who were working for someone for 25 grand that are now earning 80 grand through us. And I've also had guys that come through and we've had fallouts with and all the rest of it, but we've got a really good, like, we don't even call them engineers, like, call them partners. Like, in the brand, they are partners to us and we can't do it without them. You know, so I love working with them. There's solar industry is a bit more Wild West for partners, but we've found some amazing people, like Jez at J Cook. It's just been amazing for us. He's been by our side from the start. We've got lots of new ones coming through the ranks. And that's growing at a rapid pace. I think that the next iteration of it is like moving into battery storage. It's moving into more renewable style technologies. It's empowering more engineers. It's trying to make it affordable. You know, we've had lots of interest about the business. People are obviously keen to acquire businesses like this, but for us, we're not really interested.
For me, this is, like I said to you earlier on, this has been quite refreshing for me because we've been working together now probably 2 years or so, just over 2 years. And this has totally upped my game working with you. But also, I like the fact that I've worked with other people and it's all has to be this way, this way, this way. But you're just honest. Oh, well, we did that app video earlier. Yeah. If it's not that good, say it. You're just honest. We want to do well. We want to do better. Which is, it's not the normal approach that you get from, you know, massive businesses. Yeah,
where it's like constructed. I think that's the way that we operate, though. Like, you know, probably one of the limitations for Sam and I is that we still have like a hustler sort of mentality and a startup mentality. When businesses get massive, you know, we've got a guy called Phil Cox, again, another father figure, like, just out of this world in terms of management.
Do you ever get told to cool it down a little bit? Like,
Yeah, we do. It's like, look, get back in lane, or like, what is that right decision? We've got Paul Vickerstaff, like another amazing guy. We've got great people in the business as well. I mean, I can't name them all, but look, you know, people have been by our side and have stuck by our side, and we've done right by those people as well.
Just as a final thought then for this video, if somebody wants to try and do really well, have you got any tips or any guidance for what they could do to help them?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is like tenacity. You've just got to be relentless. The 80-20 rule, which is 80% effort in, 20% out, I live by it. You know, you've got to be tenacious. Good people around you. It's difficult to do it alone. I mean, my family is the first point of call. Could never have done without them. All the people that have joined this business couldn't have done without them. All the guys and girls who are working for us out here couldn't do it without them. I'd focus less on the money because it comes eventually. If I'd have focused on money from day one, I'd have given up in year 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could earn more at Pizza Hut. I actually worked at Pizza Hut, quite liked it. And then the other thing that's been successful for me is like having an understanding partner. So my wife is, you know, like she you know, my mum's the same for my dad, you know, like they know what our commitment is, but they support you through it. So they're the things that have worked for me. Other things work for different people. And also, like, failures, like, it's a lesson, it's an education that you buy. You know, we've come close. I've seen it with my dad. We've made some hoolies at Heatable. We've lost so much money on stuff.
Yeah.
but you've just got to go, right, park that, get on with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's loads of bits of advice, but I mean, tenacity is the best one. Like you've got to be relentless.
We've got big shake-ups at the minute with the boiler industry.
Yeah.
We've got this new government charge, is it £150 a boiler or something like that?
Yeah, 130 net, yeah.
How do you see that affecting your business? How do you see that affecting the industry as a whole?
I mean, on the clean heat market mechanism, look, the ultimate person that's paying the price is the consumer. It's a tax on combustion boilers. I think everyone agrees that they would rather have a clean system than a combustion system.
Yeah.
There's just a reality around it. I think there's a massive social issue around heat pumps and cleaner technologies, solar included. It's an exclusive market. What this clean heat market mechanism does is penalise those who it's so far removed the option from them, not only to have one installed, but to run one.
Yeah.
Because they're expensive to run. I know there's lots of claims they can be cheaper, but it's an emerging technology. And I'm surprised it's been put in place. For us, it's not really made a difference to volume or sales because we've just passed that on to the consumer. You know, we've worked with the manufacturers to minimise it, so our levy's a little bit lower because we've put a little bit in as well. But the consumer's paying the price. The manufacturer's not getting hit. You know, businesses that are fitting them aren't getting hit. The customer is getting hit. And I don't agree with it personally. I think the wider industry, there's a massive skills gap, which we're working hard to sort of upskill people. And look, you know, Heatable and other online platforms get a lot of stick and a lot of flack off the market. Replacement heating systems in the UK are 1 million units a year. You know, we're not doing anywhere near 1 million.
Yeah.
The bulk of the market is the one-man band, the small business. We serve a market who's fallen out of love with that market. And what we also do at the same time is we enable that market access to work, to income, to skills, training, and we help them with their business. So I see it as a win-win for us. I've got no problems with one-man bands being successful. I know I am one, I was one, and I live and breathe it. The heating industry's got a lot of growing up to do. But I think just on the point of the clean heat market mechanism, you know, why not take the 150 quid and mandate it for upskilling?
Yeah.
You know, take it out of the consumer's pocket, so put it back in the consumer's pocket, and impose the manufacturer to upskill the workforce and the education around these low carbon heat technologies, and also improve them because they're not good enough. There are limitations to them, and we get a lot of stick as a business where it's like, you know, you're flogging gas boilers and, you know, you don't even want to do heat pumps. And it's like, with the greatest respect, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a commercial minded person. I would rather charge, with the levy and everything else, 10 grand for a heat pump than 2 grand for a boiler and make 3 times as much money. But is that the right thing for our customer base? And is that the right thing for the market? In my personal opinion, no, it's not yet. It'll come, but ramming it down people's throats, consumers pay the price.
Well, thank you very much. It's been really interesting. It's been a little bit emotional as well.
Yeah, got a bit emotional.
Even I got a tear in the eye with it. But yeah, if you've got any questions for Ben, I mean, that's an amazing story. And thank you very much for sharing.
No, I appreciate that. The opportunity to share it
on this channel.
Yeah.